Hey everyone, it's blog time, and today we're talking about getting groovy. No, I look like a right idiot here, don't I? Okay, so sorry about the silly intro. They're getting sillier each week, it seems. Today I want to talk about groove, and I don't mean groove as in sort of 60s, 70s groove, man. Just a feel of motion and a feel of togetherness for a particular piece of music. And the best way to describe this is probably if you take an inexperienced drummer and an experienced drummer, a bad drummer and a good drummer actually, and you get them to play the same part, a simple drum part, and then you quantize them to a grid, which, you know, that's a controversial subject in itself, but you'll find that the good drummer still feels good, whereas the bad drummer hasn't really achieved the quality of the good drummer, even though you've quantized it. The notes are all in time, the beats are all in time, but the velocities are not quite there. Now, the velocity at which each note is hit, each drum is hit, is not the only thing that contributes to a groove feel. There are micro timing changes and so on that are involved with groove. But it's one thing, and it's one thing that we can easily remedy by just thinking about how we count through notes in the bar. So as a producer, this is really useful because you can kind of, instruct your drummer and count through. And next time you've got a band in, you're recording, you're working with a drummer, just ask them how do they count, because a lot of inexperienced or self-taught drummers, and it's not the fault of their own, they will count like this. So they'll go kick 2 snare 4, kick 2 snare 4, and whilst they might be, solid in terms of timing, there's no sort of travel. Now, that might be what you want, but if you count in a different way with 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, obviously your bars are twice as long, but you get a different feel. Just have a listen to this. Kick and snare and kick and snare and kick and snare. I'll do the original. Kick 2 snare 4, kick 2 snare 4, kick and snare and kick and snare and kick 2 snare 4, kick 2 snare 4, kick and snare and kick and snare. So there's an added vibe with the 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and counting system. So it's time for Russ's Picks, and since we're talking about drumming sort of this week, I thought I would direct you to a YouTube channel that I subscribe to. They've got a website. I've been following them since they took on their current name, Drumeo, drumeo.com. It's a subscription service, but there is a lot of free content, and there's a lot of free content on YouTube. And if you're a producer or engineer or a drummer, or even another instrumentalist who just wants to understand what's going on, there's so much free content that comes out from Drumeo. It's enough to occupy you, absolutely, and help you learn a lot of interesting stuff about drumming. And they have all sorts of celebrity drummers on, top drummers, top pro session drummers, drummers from famous bands and so on, who come on and do workshops. And most of that stuff is free. It doesn't cost an awful lot to join, but as someone who wants to expand their interest and their knowledge of every instrument as a producer, which you should be doing, it's a really good free resource to check out. So yeah, drumeo.com. Back to the show. So if you count 1E and a 2E and a 1E and a 2E and a or 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a, then you can get 16th beats. If you want to count triplets, really simple. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. Very simple. And if you have this little sort of dialogue running in your head, especially if you're an inexperienced drummer, it can really add to a groove. Now, I'm not saying that really solid programmed drums that have no dynamics don't have their place, because they certainly do. But it's certainly something to think about if you want to just add a bit of vibe to your drumming or your drummer's drumming. And as I say, it doesn't just apply to drums. It can apply to guitar as well. So I know it's only a short one this week. I really hope that you enjoyed it. Go away, take this information, give it a go, and happy recording. I'll see you next time.